The lights on the stage of American Idol 2025 were turned down, creating a gentle glow that illuminated the historical audition room. When Josh King, who is 24 years old and hails from Charlotte, North Carolina, took the stage, the judges, which included Luke Bryan, Carrie Underwood, and Lionel Richie, fell silent. Despite the fact that Josh was carrying a harp around his neck and a piano at his side, he had an unpretentious charm. However, his eyes gleamed with a calm resolve. The next thing that happened was a performance of Over the Rainbow that left the judges speechless and sparked rumors that a future superstar was on the verge of being born. The question remains, however, as Hollywood Week draws near. Is it possible for Josh King to transcend his roots as a nightclub singer and thrive on one of the most competitive platforms in the music industry? The path that led Josh to become a member of American Idol was not paved with lofty aspirations of fame. A self-proclaimed airport pianist, he has spent years serenading passengers at Charlotte Douglas International Airport, weaving his melodies amid the pandemonium of terminals. His music has captured the attention of passengers. A gig like this requires a high level of versatility, as it requires you to sing jazz standards one moment and improvise pop tunes the next. On the other hand, this is a job that gives him the possibility of being relegated to the background, more of a lounge act than a headliner. Josh resisted the urging of his buddies to try out for the American Idol competition. What's the worst that could happen? He joked to the host, Ryan Seacrest, while wearing a worried smile that betrayed his nervousness during the conversation. He had no idea that the answer to that inquiry would lead to a performance that would completely alter the course of his life. While Josh was seated at the keyboard, he started working on his arrangement of Over the Rainbow. It was immediately apparent that this was not Judy Garland's masterpiece from the very first note. It was a tapestry of chords with a jazz influence, soulful runs, and surprising pauses that made the familiar sound like it was coming from a completely different direction. As he played, his fingers moved across the keys with the ease of a master, each note being purposeful yet still being loose. The harmonica, which was an unorthodox choice, contributed a raw, bluesy edge to the performance, which helped to anchor it in something that was really personal. Josh's voice, which was velvety and had a tinge of grit, conveyed the tune with an intimacy that drew the judges in. His voice was smooth and textured at the same time. Instead of performing to a group of business giants, it seemed as though he was singing to every one of them individually. With his eyes narrowing in that unmistakable way that indicates he has heard something exceptional, Lionel Richie moved forward and leaned forward even farther. Carrie Underwood, who has always been skeptical of excessive elaboration, cocked her head to the side as she was taken aback by the straightforwardness that lay underlying Josh's flourishes. While sitting still and moving slightly to the beat, Luke Bryan, who was always quick with a remark, remained mute. That Josh's voice cracked ever so little when he reached the emotional pinnacle of the song, which was Why, Oh Why Can't I? Josh's voice cracked not out of weakness, but rather out of utter vulnerability. The atmosphere was thicker, and the room seemed to shrink. It was as if time itself had stopped to listen. When the final note lingered, there was a brief pause in which nobody moved. Following that, Luke broke the silence. "That was a masterclass in piano," he exclaimed, shaking his head. "Man, that was incredible." On the other hand, Carrie, as is her custom, provided a measured criticism. "The times when you kept things straightforward were some of my favorites," she stated. "It's true that you have a lot of runs, but there are instances when less is more." Despite his reputation as a visionary, Lionel saw something else. "You did runs that weren't Sinatra, weren't Bennett. They were you," he added, pointing to Josh. "You did those runs for yourself." The phrase, "that's what I'm chasing." It became clear from the remarks of the judges that Josh walks a tightrope. There is no denying his technical prowess. He has spent years performing for people he has never met before, which has allowed him to refine his art to a fine point. On the other hand, American Idol is not only about talent, it is also about identity. Beyond the confines of the airport lounge, who was Josh King, Luke threw a curveball at him, simply the tune in its purest form. Unfazed, Josh was able to pivot. His rendition of the Motown song was unadorned but contagious, and his groove was able to convince Carrie and Lionel to join in on the singing. Luke was dancing while he was standing up. He yelled out, "You got soul, man," for emphasis. I was able to secure a golden ticket to Hollywood thanks to that second song, which resulted in 2 yeses from Luke and Lionel, a reluctant no from Carrie, and a golden ticket. On March 16, 2025, the audition was broadcast and social media was ablaze with excitement. While listening to X, listeners referred to Josh as a dark horse, appreciating his jazzy wizardry and old soul vibe. Clips of his performance have garnered a lot of views, with one particular moment becoming viral. Carrie singing along to My Girl. This moment has sparked a lot of memes. Others, however, mirrored Carrie's caution and questioned whether Josh's propensity for lounging around would prevent him from progressing. The phrase, "He's got to break out of the piano bar," was in one of the posts. If he does not comply, Hollywood Week will consume him, and he will die. During Hollywood Week, which is scheduled to begin airing on March 31, 2025, American Idol will differentiate between dreamers and contenders. The format of Idol Arena is quite harsh. Participants are called at random to perform solo appearances, without any prior warning, and are subjected to quick feedback. After the elimination of more than half of the 144 aspirants, Josh's capacity for adaptation will be put to the test in a way that has never been seen before. The judges' comments linger: simplify, connect, and be yourself. His audition demonstrated that he has the ability to enthrall. Is he able to let go of the comforting skin of his lounge singer persona and embrace the unpolished artist that resides within him? The story of Josh's past provides some insight into his tenacity. Music was more than simply a pastime. It was essential to their survival. He received a harmonica from his father when he was 6 years old, and it quickly became his obsession. By the time he was 8 years old, he was slipping backstage at blues concerts, where he was tutored by blues superstars such as James Cotton. Later, I taught myself how to play the piano by mimicking other musicians and improvising for hours. He learned how to read a room and to sense what people require before they are aware of it themselves from his experience playing in hospitals and airports. As Josh explained to the producers, "It's not about me. All that matters is that you give someone a moment." This instinct may be his greatest advantage, but it may also be his Achilles heel if he places an excessive amount of importance on pleasing other people. What differentiates Josh from others is his capacity for innovation. His rendition of Over the Rainbow was not a cover, rather, it was a conversation with the song's history, merging influences from jazz, blues, and soul to create something that was uniquely his. Imagine what he could accomplish during Hollywood Week if he is able to achieve it under the pressure of an audition. Authenticity is something that the judges are looking for, and Josh has plenty of it. All he needs to do is trust it. His range may be demonstrated through a rock-infused pop anthem, a stripped-down ballad, or even an original song, which would quiet those who have doubts about him. His harp, which is a wild card, has the potential to steal the show since it offers a texture that no one else does. There is a lot of heated rivalry. Platinum ticket holders such as Canon James Hill and rising stars such as Jamal Roberts are already making waves in the industry they belong to. It is not necessary for Josh to have the loudest voice or be the most flashy performer since he does not need to. His strength rests in moments that are quiet and soul-stirring, moments that stay long after the applause has settled down. In the event that he is able to harness that during Hollywood Week, he will not only shine, but he will shine brightly enough to carry him to the live events. During the course of American Idol 2025, Josh King currently finds himself at a crossroads. His performance during the audition was a promise. It was a glimpse of a voice that had the potential to reimagine what it means to be an idol. During Hollywood Week, he will be required to delve deeper, remove the polish, and allow his unfiltered reality to show through. The audience is watching, the judges are waiting, and somewhere, in the midst of all the pandemonium, Josh is getting ready to take that next step. Will he be able to triumph over the rainbow? Time, as well as his subsequent performance, will do the talking.